logical catchword of the 21st century. But what is narcissism? How does it corrupt the soul? And can it be treated and cured? Join Maulana Zahir Ahmed Ragi every Wednesday morning as he unpacks the topic of narcissism and enlightens us on the Islamic perspective of tackling this spiritual sickness. Radio Islam International, bringing you contemporary and pertinent psychological discussions.
أحب رضاه أحب لقاه يظل يجيء إلى Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Radio Islam International. You are listening to the topic You Are Loved, where we are discussing the topic of narcissism, and we are going into our 36th week. In our last discussion with Muazzir Ahmad Ragi, we discussed about the social problems Muslim narcissists cause, about breaking free from a narcissist is easier said than done. So we actually gave quite a bit on the qualities of a narcissist, and we mentioned that, the social problems Muslim narcissists actually cause. Also, the effect that the abuse can have on a person can deprive them from having a fulfilling and happy life. And also, they tell you that good Muslims don't divorce. We also discussed about to differentiate between religion and culture, where there's a constant bombardment of spiritual abuse by using Quran and Hadith as proofs that cause people to resent Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have Maulana online. Maulana, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah Maulana for the convenience of doing it from home. Much appreciated. Together with that, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to our listeners on Radio Islam, Radio Al Ansar, and all those that have joined us on the Ummahat platform. I suppose this is the benefit of technology, Maulana.
Gee, definitely, sitting in different places yet so far, but so close also.
Gee, alhamdulillah.
Well, we discussed about narcissism, and narcissists are actually relentless when it comes to hoovering valuable victims back into their lives. It could happen during the relationship when they feel that their partners are fed up, after their partners decide to leave them, and even after their partners have been discarded by them, they have this urge.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Continuing from the discussion that we are having currently, which is the harms that these people that have this personality disorder cause in communities. Now, many narcissists, as you have said, they are relentless in order to bring back their valuable victims back into their lives. Many narcissists enjoy seeing people in pain, and they have no real intentions or capabilities to make a relationship work. And they rope people back in because it gives them a sense of achievement and an ego boost to know that people still want them. They know that they should let people go to move on with their lives if they have separated. And they can find better people to be with. But unfortunately, narcissists don't. They are happy and they find enjoyment in wasting people's time, youth, energy, mostly with fake promises of a future, and they lie about being in love just to keep their victims around. Also, no one switches on the charm faster than a narcissist who needs something from someone. A narcissist who has been discarded will always try the malignant Hoover bait, which is to appeal to what you love or what you need the most. For example, they may offer you, if it's in business or whatever, a great business opportunity. If it is a partner, an expensive gift that you've hinted at for a while, just to make you feel important by talking about the this is another approach. They talk about a non-existent therapist they've been seeing for their bad behavior, so that you believe that they've changed for the better. In fact, on a more serious level and more toxic level, some may even harm, if you've carried on with your life, even harm your children if your children are living with them, by even causing harm by neglecting them, being abusive to your children, for example, so that you go back to them out of fear for their well-being, not having to go through an expensive and stressful court procedure to get custody over them. These are things that people will do. Many women don't talk about their problems because they are made to believe by their husbands that Muslim women don't reveal their marital secrets and they will be cursed. And so you find that those women who are Allah-fearing think twice before revealing any information to others. Narcissists will always hoover you back in only to discard you later, because they absolutely must have the last discard to move on with their lives. If you are the one who discarded the narcissist and you are the one who've cut all contact with them first, it leaves them in agony for weeks, months, and even years, just because you've managed to escape before they have completed their mission. A narcissist will also contact and love bomb you when you've entered a new relationship. And this part is an extremely, worrisome part. It's a dangerous part, because you've entered now a new relationship. They will take the opportunity to confess that they made a mistake, that they regret letting you go, and that they miss you, and they still love you, just for the satisfaction of causing some chaos and confusion in your life. They may even I think there's a message from you, Marana.
Gee, just one message that has come in.
Okay, you can read that, Marana, if you want to.
Gee, well, the message says that there's advice from a Muslim sister that absolutely true regards to narcissists. They use abuse for financial gain in particular. Take advice from close family, brothers, and friends who know about these people with bad reputations and backgrounds. Sometimes women suffer so much of emotional trauma and stress, they tend to avoid discussing problems. And it's important, like Malana says, to be strong and to move on.
Yes, absolutely. And this is exactly what we are talking about. This is what would happen. And they will do this and they will tell you they still love you, just for the satisfaction of causing chaos and confusion in your life. In fact, they may even send some new fabulous photos of themselves or on an e-greeting just to play on your mind. Remember, this is Shaitan working extremely hard through them to try and break a good relationship. Some women become victims of narcissistic hoovering during a new relationship, during a new engagement, marriage. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned, and this is how this aspect is linked. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said that Shaitan places his throne upon water. He then sends his soldiers to create dissension, and the nearer to him in rank are those who are most notorious in creating dissension. One of them comes and say, I did such and such, you have done nothing, says Shaitan to them. Then among them comes one and says, I did not spare, so until I sowed the seed of discord between a husband and wife. And Shaitan appreciates such a person and he says, you have done well. And the reason why shaitan rewards the jinn who encourage and cause the breaking of marriage is because the destruction of family units leads to the destruction of society. And when societies are corrupted, the Muslim Ummah will no longer have a strong foundation to stand on, which to him means that the kingdom of Allah will crumble and his kingdom, Shaitan's kingdom, will stand strong. And you find that the jinn qareens, and we spoke about, each one of us has a jinn that whispers into us, it's our qareen, that accompany people, work hard to fulfill his mission. This can come in the form, yes, this whispering of the qareen can come in the form of sometimes people giving bad marital advice, causing problems out of jealousy, spreading false rumors, spreading lies and gossip, and revealing past secrets to someone about their husband or wife that would cause them distress.
Well, speaking about jinn and that, so there's a common talk on sihar, black magic, when families go through a path of separation. Any reality with regards to this notion of having like sihar or black magic when it comes to these types of separations?
Yes, Morana. You know, the aspect about sihar, black magic, when families go through the path of separation, is there any reality with regards to this notion of sihar, black magic? Now, we need to keep in mind that in extreme cases, narcissists may resort to visiting people that do sihar, to use black magic on people if they are desperate. Yes, this is a fact. It can happen. Since the reign of Sulaiman alayhi salatu was salam, the reign of Sulaiman alayhi salatu was salam, since then, the jinn devils taught people sihar, taught people black magic, and they used it specifically to separate husbands and wives from each other. It is mentioned in the Quran, and they followed instead what the devils had recited during the reign of Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salatu was salam. And Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, ayah number 102, it was not Sulaiman who disbelieved, but the jinn who disbelieved, teaching people sihr, black magic, jadoo, and they learn from them that by which they cause separation between a man and his wife, but they do not harm anyone through it except by the permission of Allah Ta'ala. Now, a few years ago, Marana, if we still have that, we had a lengthy discussion relating to sihr and black magic. However, with the help of unseen jinn, black magic, jadoo, created by magicians, may cause a husband to see his wife differently from how she really is. And this makes him hate her, and vice versa. And this is how the sihr and black magic work. Black magic is a major sin that continues to be practiced in many parts of the world until today to harm people. And it's important for us to continue protect ourselves from the harms of it and the effect of it daily. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to seek protection against the evil jinn and the evil eyes until Surah Falaq, Surah Nas were revealed. And after they were revealed, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used them for seeking Allah's protection and left everything besides them. And therefore we encourage our listeners and our viewers to regularly recite Surah Falaq, Surah Nas, Surah Ikhlas, the Manzil. So coming back to our discussion about hovering women, who were during a new relationship or marriage face many problems. And this is what we are discussing. The harms that it causes when their husbands finds out about the narcissist ex who still is in contact. So you might have been separated from your previous husband who was a narcissist, with whom you were in an abusive relationship. Now you've married, you've gone on with your life. And when your previous husband comes to know and he starts hovering back at you through messages, through Eid greetings, sometimes just a salam, sometimes whatever, this can cause great harm in your new marriage, in your new relationship. And this can result, it creates suspicion and problems that can lead to a breakup or a more controlling behavior in your new marriage at home. So be warned that if you choose to leave a spouse to go back to the narcissist, or your spouse ends the relationship as they start to experience trust issues, that previous person will disappear and won't be there to pick up the pieces and take responsibility for what he or she has caused you. They've accomplished a mission, and it was never, and it will never be their intention to take you back and fulfill their fake promises. And if they do, which is very rare, they will use you for what they need and then discard you because they don't trust you, as they witnessed you leaving your relationship or marriage for them. Now, a true Muslim would never contact a man or a woman again after they've moved on with someone else out of fear of Allah and respect for the new partner, and because they realize that they were not the sustenance, they were not their risk to have, even if they feel that they've made a mistake by letting them go. Also, what is also important for you to keep in mind, that if you have children with a narcissistic ex-husband or wife, they will use the children to make life difficult for you in your new marriage by causing unnecessary dramas, troubles, such as not letting you have the children on the days you've agreed on, or constantly calling and asking for things for the children, knowing very well that this will bother your current spouse and cause issues of trust. They are incredibly jealous, envious people, and will be over the moon if they manage to destroy your marriage just for the sake of seeing you unhappy. So if you don't have any ties with them, meaning children, business partnerships, or whatever, the best to do is block them everywhere, sever all forms of contact, as you are likely to get a message here and there as bait on your birthday, anniversary, Ramadan, Eid, saying that they miss you and are thinking of you. Ignoring them like they don't exist and going no contact is the most effective method of getting rid of them for good. When we talk of no contact, it means no response at all, not even a negative one, as any kind of reaction will be fuel for the narcissist, and they will interpret it as having power of you. And if you are unable to cut ties with them because there are children between you and them, it's best to have someone else deal with them, such as a parent or even your spouse, or have a middle person between you, such as a social worker. If these aren't possible options, then involving members of their family, such as their parents, or visiting a mediator is important, so he or she can help you to reach an agreement in regards to issues of children, visiting times, maintenance, etc. In all cases, narcissists will continue to be stubborn, very annoying at times, especially if no one else is involved between you. And so it's best to be aware and educated. And that's the purpose of these discussions that we are having. It's best to be aware and educated about how they will manipulate you, so you know how to react in a smart manner, and always practice calm and patient for your own peace. In general, though, if a narcissist has another source of supply, they won't often make life difficult for the mother or the father of the child, as they'll be busy and happy to let you have your children, so that they have freedom and you have to sort out the issues. And if they haven't moved on, or if they have a partner who's very jealous of you, then they will be extremely difficult to deal with, as their partner may fuel the problems. Discarding a narcissist and having them to see you move on with someone suitable for you will cause massive narcissistic injury to them, and they will get mentally tormented by their pareen for not destroying you. So these are things that we need to keep in mind. Narcissists don't regret any of their actions unless their actions were detrimental to the outcome they hoped for. And this is so important. You need to always keep this in mind. A narcissist will never regret any of their actions unless their actions were detrimental to the outcome that they had hoped for. For example, they may do something that later backfires on them and causes an inconvenience or narcissistic injury. I'm telling you this, and I'm saying this, and I'm talking about this from speaking to narcissists who shared with me what goes through their minds, that they don't deal with this type of loss and regret well when they have lost their supply for their ego and their arrogance and their emotions.
Jamal, we have two messages. The first one that came in: I was separated from my husband for 2 months and stayed with my parents. My husband worked so hard on my guilt and played the innocent victim card, making me feel like I was crazy, one which in turn led me to come back home. He kept my kids and made them believe that they had no comfort in their nanny's house. I missed my kids and I came back. Now I feel so stuck, and he continuously love bombs me, and I know it's all a show. I need to leave, but I'm so afraid of the uncertainty. It's affecting my mental health to the extreme where my physical health has deteriorated tremendously. What do I do? Appreciate the advice.
Yes, so this will happen, and they will play on your emotions and thoughts like the following. You will speak to yourself that perhaps I shouldn't have did this. Maybe I was at wrong. Maybe, like I'm a stupid person and this guy was a smart person. They will make you think like this. The reason why narcissists go into this is that they want to hover you back, and that's exactly the discussion we are having. So how do you deal with this? Firstly, I think it's most important that you make your relationship with Allah Ta'ala extremely strong. Make sure that you are regular with your salah. Be very much focused in your salah. Make dua to Allah Ta'ala. Istikhara, have great confidence and conviction in istikhara. Make your du'as, read your adhkar, recital of the Quran, istikhara. This will guide you. Together with that, it's important for you to take guidance from some life coaches. If you can, offline, I might suggest to you someone. You could speak to these life coaches that will coach you and guide you, because you are going through this trauma of, uncertainty. And this is a place, the zone of being in an uncertain zone is the zone where the shaitan will also take advantage of his whispers. And therefore, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من همزات الشياطين These are the du'as and your relationship with Allah, istikhara, together with that professional help how to deal with this. And also self-assessment, self-reflection. Do you really want to go back to that situation of abuse? These are all the things that one needs to do in order to have a good space to make the right decision. And also your wali, your family members, they are the support structures that you need in these times.
Well, another message has also come before we continue. In theory, you understand and realize that what is the right thing to do to fix our situation. Yet, Malana, it's not as easy in this day currently. We have to adjust our lifestyle we love and income we rely on to maintain our kids and ourselves in our homes. The victims that we focus on majority are the ones that are solely dependent on our partners. She gives an example. I want to leave, but I can't, especially with many kids. No support structures financially as well. And also, our Islamic community organizations under stress would rather tell us to make sabr. Marana, we rely solely on dua and make sabr. Allah will reward the difficulty we face. Yet, these programs makes myself and many others have some contentment knowing that we're dealing with and make small steps to improvement in our lives every day.
Yes, so inshallah, excellent. Look, there are occasions where we don't enjoy the support structures. We are in a relationship with children. We have responsibilities towards our children. Yes, most certainly. And the environment that we are living in is not very friendly to people that just break up relationships in this way. So, therefore, I'm saying that our relationship with Allah Ta'ala and the contentment that we will feel and experience when we speak to Allah Ta'ala. And in these times, honestly, inshallah, Morana, maybe after this program, after we complete the aspect of, going through the healing process, it might be a great idea to talk about the virtue and the benefit and the significance of the night prayer, Tahajjud Salah. Honestly, commence with Tahajjud Salah and speak to Allah at the time of Tahajjud Salah, and you will feel the contentment. You will actually feel the hand of Allah over you, and inshallah that your contentment and your solace by speaking to our Creator, the one who controls the hearts of people, the one in whose control are our emotions, is a great source of support besides people, because our first port of call is our Creator, Allah Ta'ala. Yes, in these types of situations, it is tremendous, and the sabr and the patience. And remember, sabr is not just to keep quiet. Sabr does not mean in Islam you accept the abuse. Sabr means to know how to handle that abuse. So that connection with Allah and the contentment you receive will inshallah provide you the ability to exercise the correct concept of sabr and patience to manage that abuse, inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, carrying on, the belief that narcissists and victims of narcissists have been cursed with black magic or the evil eye. Following on from this point, I would like that Mara touches upon the issue of social paranoia about black magic and the evil eye.
Subhanallah, this is so important. So it's common to come across the belief that any affliction, any tragedy that befalls a person is due to the envious eyes of people or black magic performed by someone who detests them or wants to destroy them. This is a paranoia also that we should be careful of. It is not unusual to see people blame nazar, evil eye, black magic for their misfortunes instead of addressing the issue at hand and finding the root cause of the problem. Many families end up paying hundreds of rands, thousands of rands to amils who claim they can remove it from them, even when they know they don't have any form of sihr, jadoo, black magic. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi
Sallallahu alayhi
wasallam
wa sallam.
said, the evil eye is real. And if anything were to overtake the divinity, the divine decree, qadar, it would be the evil eye, a hadith of Sahih Muslim. I'm narrating this hadith to establish that yes, sihr, jadoo, evil eye, nadar is a reality. People can be afflicted by the evil eye quite easily if they do not protect themselves with the daily prayers, with the supplications that are recommended by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, to put the entire blame of an unfortunate situation on these two phenomena, nadar and black magic, is wrong, and a Muslim knows that ultimately everything is in Allah's control. A fitting analogy of this would be someone leaving their car with the ignition on, engine is running, and then claiming that they have evil eye or bad luck because someone spotted an opportunity to steal it. So you left the ignition on, someone came, stole your car, and then you blame it on black magic. So we've come across families who believe that marital problems their narcissistic sons, daughters faced were because of the ill wishes and intentions of evil and jealous family members. Some parents of narcissists absolutely insist that someone curse them so that their toxic son or daughters aren't seen as the problem. On the other hand, the families of victims may blame the evil eye and jadoo, magic, sihr, for the abuse and unhappy marriages of their sons and daughters. What they are experiencing, because at one point everything was perfect, everything was wonderful, but that was the love bombing phase. And all of a sudden they are unhappy and complaining about abuse. So it can only be jadoo, it is nazar. Many people who don't fully understand or know about narcissism and psychopaths may be easily convinced that marital problems are caused by black magic, by evil eye. They believe that people who once saw the couple so happy and in love envied them, and so their bad energy is the reason for the problems. This is a serious problem because it does not acknowledge the main issue, and it does not address the toxic behavior, the toxic disorder, the toxic relationship. Men and women with this belief will often marry narcissists again and experience similar abuse, and the continuation of abuse further solidifies the belief that they do have permanent black magic or evil eye that will prevent them from ever being happy in a marriage. In fact, some parents also become distraught when their daughter does not become pregnant, believing that someone has cursed her when it's actually Allah who's preventing it out of protection for her at times. People also blame black magic and the evil eye for a woman who remains single in her 30s or 40s or is unable to remarry. Another major issue with this belief is that people start to become unnecessarily, and this is extremely important to keep in mind. A major issue of this paranoia that everything is black magic is that what this belief is that people start to become unnecessarily suspicious of one another. They spread gossip, act on assumptions, and overanalyze the actions and words of people around them. It will ruin a relationship with others and may isolate you from those who genuinely care about you. So, yes, black magic is a fact. Yes, nadar is a fact. We are guided by our Sharia to seek protection through the various adhkar, the manzil, Surah Falaq, Surah Nas, Surah Ikhlas, Ayatul Kursi. Make sure you sleep with wudu. Entering the bathroom, the toilet, recite the prescribed du'as and adhkar. These are our ammunition to be protected from these types of sihr. However, in spite of having doing all of that, if we are affected, Allah Ta'ala is the best way of remedying us from those situations. However, to believe that everything is on the basis of black magic is extremely dangerous, and we should rather address the personality disorders that we observe within us instead of shifting the blame and putting it onto black magic.
Shima, now there's a rising number of divorced and single Muslim women. A major challenge for divorced Muslims after enduring narcissistic abuse is the struggle to find suitable Muslim partners and facing the difficulties of living a chaste and celibate life.
Yes, Moana. So this maybe follows from the question we had earlier. Let us understand, in Islam, it is highly encouraged to be married and not spend a long time of period alone. However, due to the spread of narcissism and sometimes due to coming out of an abusive marriage in our societies and the lack of suitable Muslims to marry, it's become a norm for Muslim women in particular to live and raise children alone. It's now regarded as a norm that if you are divorced, if you are widowed, if you have children, it's norm, for you to live alone. In particular, to live and raise children alone has become a norm, unfortunately, which can be detrimental to the mental health of their children who need father figures. And it's not that you will not get a good, caring husband who will also look after your children. And there are plenty examples of that. Many people don't fully understand the hardships of Muslims who desire and need companionship, who desire security, who desire romance, who desire a family, who desire love and emotional, physical, and sexual intimacy, but abstain from unlawful relationships for pleasing Allah Ta'ala. And this is really a personal jihad. It's an internal struggle that has, alhamdulillah, immense reward, as it's possibly one of the most difficult to endure, especially in the time we are living in now. Many are unable to remain celibate by being busy. However, some are unable to due to the lack of suitable men and women. Muslims are falling into, unfortunately, major sins in order to get their basic human needs fulfilled. Women that I have spoken to, and some that have spoken to me, have said that it's difficult to find Muslim men who want to get married, and if they do, they are perhaps not financially ready to get married. Some men are also in no hurry to get married because they are not living celibate lives. Many Muslims, unfortunately, as a result of this culture, engage in zina with non-Muslims so that they are not exposed or judged by other Muslims for their sins. For the most part, non-Muslims don't have any long-term expectations from Muslims who just maybe want to have some fun. Now, protecting one's chastity encourages people to get married. Protecting one's chastity encourages one and encourages people to get married young. And so when people commit zina, the need for marriage decreases and is delayed. This affects our society as a whole, as it has a domino effect on everyone living within it. It is especially hard for single mothers or fathers and widows to find partners who will financially support, who will help them raise their children, especially when there's problematic ex-husbands, ex-wives involved, who's always making life difficult. As a result, many of these women are offered, and I'm saying this, many of these women are offered the secret and often short-lived marriages by narcissistic Muslim men to get engaged in a secret marriage, who then take advantage of the fact that practicing and celibate women want to be in halal relationships and already have their own homes. This can happen to men as well. Some practicing married and single men have reported that women have offered them marriage on the condition that it's kept secret, and they receive the financial help. Before they know it, they are sucked into a toxic relationship and an endless cycle of drama. Now, these women have no emotional or emphatic attachment to the men and resort to, sometimes even later, blackmailing them in different ways, such as threatening to tell their wives about the marriage, exposing them in public if they don't comply with the demands. This is especially jeopardizing for men who have a good reputation in their communities and only entered this type of marriage temporarily, as they found celibacy and getting married the normal way difficult and unfavorable. Because in our culture, to have a second wife is sometimes looked down upon. Women and men in their 30s and 40s who have been single for years will often be targeted by narcissists who believe they are vulnerable and lonely. After being single for so long, it becomes easier to fall for a narcissist's love bombing. Always advise, always avoid those who try to bend Allah's rules. Always avoid those who try to bend Allah's rules, as you can pay a heavy price for the outcome, which can be detrimental to your life, to your iman, your well-being. Narcissistic abuse has also led to an increase, unfortunately, in Muslims avoiding marriage completely because they fear the abuse. They'd rather stay single forever, or, unfortunately, rather have boyfriends and girlfriends, mistresses, than risk getting married to someone who could potentially ruin your life and leave you as a single parent. Now, watching over men and women getting cruelly divorced, watching over men and women getting cruelly divorced, abandoned, deceived, betrayed, abused, and not taken care of by seemingly practicing Muslim men and women has caused more and more Muslims to just focus on their careers, business. This isn't a negative thing to do, especially if you have strong iman and supportive friends and family. However, some Muslims may feel that their iman weakens over time if their emotional, mental, and sexual needs become overpowering. And therefore, it's important that we understand these things. The advice that we are giving is that there is no harm, and we should move away from this culture of our community and society that marrying a second wife is not a good thing. There are many women that are engaged in celibacy, that are engaged in activities, but there are also those who need the support, who need the companionship, and the culture and communities should be supportive to allow these type of second marriages, etc. And that is the beauty and the wisdom of Islam.
Well, the last part we're coming to is the abandoning of the hijab and identity issues. Now, we find that Muslim women suffer from identity and faith issues every day. The removal of the hijab can be caused by different factors, from feeling unattractive in a modern sexualized world to believing it isn't an Islamic obligation, rather a cultural obligation.
Jimana, this is a deep question. It needs some depth in the discussion of it. Perhaps maybe we can take this next week and continue with this question next week.
Gee, I think we can.
The aspect of identity issues. And sometimes we find that some women abandon the hijab. Some Muslim women may suffer from identity and faith issues. And the removal of the hijab can then be caused by different factors, from feeling unattractive in a modern world, feeling unattractive in a modern sexualized world, to believing that it isn't an Islamic obligation. And this really needs us to discuss this thoroughly. So if you allow me, I'll discuss this next week. However, if there are any comments from our listeners, any questions that anybody has, we can take it up.
I think the other comments that we do have is Jazakallah to explain this topic. It's rather needed. And someone else also saying Jazakallah for explaining the topic. So that's the interaction we have from our side. Anything from your side?
No, that's all, inshallah.
Inshallah, we'll speak again to Morana next week, Wednesday. We'll continue about this identity issues for the females.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's assalamu alaikum from myself, Muhammad Bam, from Mazir Ahmed Ragi, and from Brother Ziad. It's behind in the studios.